It's like we did, and we should be back live with you guys now. Apologies about that. I am going to do everything I can to not touch the computer as much as possible. I'm just going to make sure that we put all of our resources into OBS, so it is as pumped up as it can be to make sure that the stream stays online and stays with you guys. And we should also be able to hear John back now. How you doing, John?
I don't know. Maybe you can.
I can. Can
I
you?
think John's back.
Excellent.
I hear him.
Yeah, we can hear.
And I can hear the two of you.
Which is great. Thanks for joining us. There we go. And we are joined on table 3 here, where we have got Jack playing against Mike with Falcir. Falcir? Yeah.
Yes, Falcir the Merciless.
Yeah, against Kruger.
Kruger the Stormlord.
Yeah, what's the main sort of, I guess, action points of Falcir and Kruger? And then we'll answer a question that we had in the previous chat.
Well, I'm gonna let Doug talk to Falcir.
You want me to talk about
for real good reasons.
Yeah. So one of the things, Falcir, of course, is one of my favorites because it's a really nice sculpt. I think.
It's a fabulous sculpt. Cheers to the person who made that happen.
I'm sure that person is very honored to hear that. Falcir, though, she works for Retribution of Syra, of course, and House Elawir with Thyron style. You get the same feel ever. But her big thing is she hands out bounties, and the bounties just they make her just a little bit better. They make her army a little bit better. So it gives her a lot of flexibility on the battlefield and a lot of versatility, and that allows her to deal with a variety of opponents, just because of that flexibility that she has.
Yeah, is that something that that we see multiple casters have? Do they have the flexibility options, or are they all more tend to be archetyped into one particular? I don't want to use the term pigeonhole, but I'm going to use the term pigeonhole.
Yeah, no, I mean she's one of our newer casters, but the way she does things is a little bit different than a normal caster. Like she hands out bounty tokens, and the bounty tokens each can have a variety of different abilities. I'm just looking at her profile. Some of the things that the bounty tokens can do, they can cause confusion, so it lowers the range. They have execute, which allows a reroll. They have falter courage, which the model gains an additional die on melee attack rolls. So that's always important, because you want to hit them. You discard the highest die, but it's still increasing your options. And then snare, which is -2 speed, so also significant if you're messing with someone's movement. So those are a lot of different options that she can do, and so she can put out the bounty token that's going to best benefit her situation. And yes, a lot of casters don't have that much flexibility like she would on that.
Yeah, it's something that it's nice to be able to have that flexibility and be able to have almost contingencies for every plan.
Mm-hmm.
What's the phrase? Jack
The
of all trades,
adaptability.
master of none.
Yeah, the
kind of thing.
adaptability. Yep.
So that's super nice. And there was a point raised earlier by Titan Wargaming in the chat saying it's nice to actually be able to watch Team Australia play live when they are at the WTC. And that is something that we are trying to do here at Dice and Ducks in conjunction with the WTC, is bring matchups that are relevant to time zones.
Yeah. So I mean, the goal being that if you're in Australia, now is a good time to be watching.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to do it like at, I don't know, 3 a.m. in the morning for you guys, although it's probably, about 10 p.m. at night or 11 p.m. at night?
We're currently 9 hours ahead of my time zone.
Of your time zone?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, if you are in Australia, let us know. Let us know what time it is currently.
What time is it there?
But it's more reasonable, right, than doing it, say, game 2 or game 3 of the day.
Right.
So trying to do it game 1 is super nice. And I think certainly over the day 1, I think we've got planned matchups if we can for all those sort of stuff. Obviously, towards the end of the tournament, we can't guarantee that's going to happen because, never know. Australia will potentially make their way to game 6.
Right.
And we can't delay that till Monday morning.
Right. Because I mean, we're looking at 11 o'clock in the morning here for us. Well, just about, right? Whereas if they're in Melbourne, right, they're 9 hours ahead of us where we are right now. So yeah. I believe it's almost 8 o'clock there.
That's what they just came across. Titan said,
8 p.m. 8 p.m. for me in Australia.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Well, and that would be at least, Melbourne, Sydney, that the east side.
Yeah, so it's really reasonable for you guys to be able to sit and watch 2 hours broadcast then. 10 p.m.'s kind of a tame night for myself. I don't know about you, gentlemen, but sometimes I do stay up till ridiculous o'clock. But people have actual lives. These things called lives outside. Yeah,
What?
crazy, right?
No, my life ends when streaming starts.
Wait,
I don't even know how to take that.
I don't either. I'm gonna have to reevaluate.
I think I need to see my counselor after that one. Wow.
The darkest timeline.
Ooh, that's good.
That was nice. And do you know what? That was relatively on pitch as well. Good work.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Yeah. I can't even hope to get anywhere near that voice.
I had a lot of Belgian beer last night, so it has only made my buttery rich baritone even better.
Full disclosure, if anybody from Privacy Press is watching, that was last night.
Yes, not yet this
not
morning.
yet to this morning.
Correct.
Right.
Not yet.
Yeah. Not yet. Lunchtime is upon us. No,
It'll happen.
the end of the day is upon us. Is that, do I see table 3? We've got Mike using casino style dice there.
Absolutely. In fact, Privateer made some casino dice.
What?
How about that?
Are they still available?
They're
They
not.
are not.
Oh.
Sadly. They are actually ridiculously expensive to produce.
Yes.
Super cool.
But so we did a very limited run of them a number of years back, and yeah, they eventually all sold out.
Of course, yeah. I really like
I
them.
do have my set though.
Mine was stolen last year out of my car.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, I tell you what, I've got some awesome Warmachine dice, the WTC dice, that were given to all of the entrants, if you would like
Yeah.
mine.
Oh,
to
we got
help
some.
bolster your
Yeah,
collection.
we have some.
Yeah?
They hooked us up as well.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
Taking
amazing.
care of us.
You know, beers, wristbands, and dice. What more could you want?
Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
No, because the food as well is amazing. I don't know about you,
So
but
good.
breakfast this
It's
morning, I
so
loved
good.
it.
the beach is right across the street. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little
Yeah.
chilly, but it's we're in a very scenic location.
Well, and being from Seattle, like I don't mind that it's a little chilly.
right.
Being British, I really don't mind it's chilly.
Right. Well, between you're from near Manchester, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not terribly different as far as your general climate from somewhere like Seattle.
Yeah.
Right. It's a bit dreary most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit moist, a bit
Yep.
wet.
Yep.
And yeah, it's always entertaining to come, someplace like this where it gets to a temperature that we're very used to, and everyone's bundled up and like wearing their bigger coats and stuff like that, and we're walking around in shorts.
Well, I mean, I'm literally wearing shorts right
Yeah,
now.
yep, there
and
you are.
It's currently what, the 8th of October, yeah.
You've actually got us in our in our work shirts
Right.
and our proper pants.
Yeah,
today.
we had to put pants on today because that's
Well, we didn't yesterday.
no. Yesterday was unofficial.
That was
Today is
fine.
official.
Yeah. But hey ho. There's a couple of people in chat as well before we carry on with that tangent because I will forget. Saying, are there any particular teams we're rooting for? We did find out from James, who's currently playing over on table 2. His favorite was himself, obviously, but he was potentially seeing a dark horse here in France, and they have drawn them game 1, which is quite cool. But let's start with Doug because he's on my left, and we read left to right, right?
Sometimes,
yeah, we do.
yeah.
Sometimes,
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I even had to. Yeah. Anyway, your particular favorites for the tournament, not just in this match.
Yeah, it was mentioned maybe we're rooting for the American teams, but no, I don't know that. I mean, I'm always around the American teams, so as good as they are, that I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like this Australian team. Like I said yesterday when we talked to James, he and I go pretty far back, just catching up at conventions and talking games and talking online. So this Australian team is definitely one of my favorites. My dark horse team that I'm rooting for is Spain. I got to spend some time with Team Spain last night.
Yeah.
And really great
Marcus and
group.
Marta and
Right.
the others. Yeah.
Yep. And just it was good to hang out with them. They say they're here to have fun, but in my heart, I know they're here to win the whole thing.
All right, cool. And then John, where are you coming from with your? Well, I know where you're coming from, but where are you? Where's your head at with winners of the?
So that one's difficult for me. So on the one hand, I've got good friends in a number of teams, right? So it's difficult to root for just one. But if I've got to pick right now, I think I am actually leaning towards the American team.
Is it the
Okay.
one Travis is on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because like he actually gets to come have fun
Right.
at this event, right?
That's
They
very
even, they even
true.
made a special announcement during the opening ceremonies of like Travis Mark is here. He's an infernal. We all love him. Don't ask him a bunch of rules questions. Let him
Because he's
play his
here
game,
playing.
right? And that's I love watching him get to play. It
Yeah,
it,
I'm happy he is too.
it just the general happiness in the area just goes up by 11 points, right? And it's contagious, right? When people are having fun, I have more fun. And so I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean that's the fun aspect is definitely felt throughout all of these tables and all the tournaments going on as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's so difficult to pick just one,
Okay.
right?
And-
It's
and I
because
agree.
there's no one here that hasn't put in the work to be here.
Yep.
Right.
There's no one here that isn't here to celebrate the community aspect of the game, and there's no one here who isn't here to have a good time. Yeah, there's definitely a desire to win, but not at the cost of the other things.
Yeah,
and
of
so that's pretty admirable across the board.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, regardless of what shirt is on your back, you would say these guys are all mates. They're all laughing about together. They're all grabbing some beers, having some fun. And I mean, we just saw this morning in the restaurant absolutely packed with people. And whilst people were sitting in their teams, they were also conversing with other teams next
Yeah,
to them.
definitely.
And last night in particular, the mingle was unreal between
Yep.
everybody.
Yep. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of cliquishness or people just sticking to their countrymen, so to speak. There was a lot of just interaction across all facets of life.
I suspect tonight will be the same.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, tonight I won't be going to bed at 8 p.m. or whatever it was. Literally, we streamed the Ashes, we had some dinner, and then myself and my partner, Kitty, who has been absolutely awesome in helping assist us. She's gone for a very well-deserved nap.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
We were both on, like, next to no sleep yesterday, so the fact that we managed to do what we did, I think, was quite cool.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think we're going to be a bit more social tonight and not just collapse. I did intend to come back down. And I literally put my head on the pillow for about 30 seconds just to relax, and
That was
it. I was gone.
There was
Out
a
like a
couple
light.
of couple other comments in chat. Will some of you guys will we be narrating the games more closely later in the weekend? I would think so towards the end. Right now we're broadcasting 5 games at once, so it's kind of tough to narrate anything too close.
Yeah.
We're just trying to give
Some
as
broad
many games as we
overviews.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're basically on the broad overview portion, and then as we get closer in, we'll also be able to be joined by a few more players that are kind of in it.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. I mean, yes, we work for the company and we help make the game, but these guys play way more than John and I do, and they're a whole lot better than we are.
Yeah,
So we know how to play. These guys know how to win.
yeah, I
like that.
I mean, we can call out certain things like when we see like the big stuff, but when it comes down to the minutia and the minute to minute, it's when dealing with 5 tables. Yeah, it's a bit more overview.
Yeah, I did. Sorry, I was having a chat with Dan. Sorry to interrupt you there, Doug.
Yeah,
No,
no,
no
you're
problem.
good.
I was having a chat with Dan about when we were all setting all of this up, and I was like, so how many tables am I covering? Because usually all of my sort of live streams are focused on one table, so we can follow the story start to finish, right through from deployment to finishing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's do 5. I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
That's it. It's very ambitious. That's when we came in and I saw 5 tables set up with cameras. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, do you know what? My brain would have gone, okay, let's do focus on 1, drop in on the other 4.
Right?
Yeah.
But Dan was like, no, I want equal limelight on all 5 tables. And I'm like, can you provide me with 20 staff, please?
And he was like, no.
And he was like, it's you. and 2 dudes. I'm like, great, let's do it.
He's like, I'm going to come help you set up, but then he broke down.
And then he didn't turn up. Yeah.
So you were stuck alone.
Hey, it was it's
He had his harrowing ordeal getting here.
Yes. Poor guy.
yeah, it was almost worthy of a round of applause when they did eventually walk through the door.
And I got to hang out with him for a bit last night.
Oh, good.
And like get to meet him face to face a bit, and have a talk while having a drink and whatnot. And yeah, there were some struggles in getting here.
Yeah, it sounded
Yeah.
pretty rough. But yeah, so especially in these early rounds, being able to jump from table to table, so the people back home can maybe see one of their favorites, or at least get to see their their team representation. So yeah, it's not quite as detailed. Like in the past, when we would do our own streams at events, we'd focus on one table also. But I think this is a great setup where we can bounce back and forth to the variety of tables, and then as it gets later in the event, we can kind of focus in.
Eagle eye on I am Zobs. Yes, this particular Karchev list is in fact Crix.
And if
So
you
we'll
guys,
get
Oh, nice.
fixed on the thing there.
yeah, picks on the overlay. If you guys
Yep.
do have or notice anything that is a little bit frustrating, not frustrating, a little bit wrong or anything like that, please do just drop us a line because I'll do my best to fix it. That obviously having 5 tables and 10 players, I need to divide my attention that would usually be on one across all of those
Yeah.
tables and players.
And just, like when you're getting, the lists somewhat last minute, right? As people are deciding which of their, pairs they're going to put down, it can fluctuate a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, streaming a Warmachine tournament is unlike anything else because, particularly a teams one, right? Is because not only have you got 5 players who can play any of the other 5 players, each of those players also brings 2 lists to the table.
Right,
Absolutely,
exactly.
And that decision doesn't happen until you are at the table.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So
So-
we don't get that information very fast. I mean, it's the game's practically starting as we're getting the information. So yeah, we're gonna stumble
Well,
a
and
little bit.
there's going to be a little bleep. Yeah. Every once in a while.
Yeah, there is, and we'll do our best to be able to iron those kinks out and make sure it's as smooth as possible. So hopefully by game 6, it'll be nothing short
Right.
of amazing.
Or game 7.
If there is a game 7, I did not sign up for that.
I'm pretty sure that if you ever host or run a stream and it goes completely smoothly from start to finish, you're
Something's
never
wrong.
allowed to stream again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
You literally just have to walk off into the sunset
retire.
Right.
and you're done.
it's like me. I
It's
won.
your magnum opus. You are complete.
I won an event for a different gaming system the other week, and first time ever, and I went, "That's it, I'm retiring."
Right.
Never
exactly.
again.
Yeah.
Never playing it again.
That's what we say. My old man hockey team, we played a tournament last year and we won. And a couple of guys were like, "We should do it again this year." I'm like, "No,
No.
we're
No.
old enough and we won that one. That could be our last one, and we go out on a winning note. So walk away."
Yep. just turn it in.
and so far we have.
But this is also we were talking earlier about like certain types of matchups and stuff, and this is almost exactly one of the scenarios that we had painted, right, a picture of. Is you've got a Karchev-led Crix team, right, which is going to be terrifying when it's running towards you, right, but you're going into a Gorshade 4 Retribution list, which has answers to those questions. Right, you've got a lot of ability to control what's going to pop off when and whether or not something's going to be effective. Because Gorshade has Arcane Vortex, which is just going to eat the ability of your caster to, maintain upkeep spells and just, modify the battlefield to their favor. And so you're going to be able to mitigate a lot of what's scary about Karchev until he gets to your face.
Yeah, that's fair. I was actually just trying to find the list for our Gorshade list here, but because France have had to recompile their teams, basically, I think this is actually a stand-in that isn't on the official list submission section, which is absolutely fine. We do with what we can, so I can't run you through the Gorshade list currently because I don't have it on my spreadsheet. However, what we can do is we can run you through Aaron Wales' list, who is currently running the Karchev Crix. Yeah. So
he's-
Oh, sorry. Go on. Do you want to do it?
No, I was acknowledging.
Oh, I was just going to read a little bit. I can do that. Yeah,
No, bring it in.
We've got Karcheg and Deathjack, which are the Malignant Fusion.
Yeah, so that's what we were talking about earlier, where Doug was saying that it's the best of both worlds because Karchev is in a Warjack frame.
Yeah, which is real nice to see. And then is that just inflictors there on 1, 2, 3, 4 inflictors
And two Reapers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So inflictors and reapers for those novices of us. What's the difference?
Well, I want to throw something in real quick.
go
Just
ahead.
back up 1 second on Karchev. So one of the things with Karchev is the original version of Karchev is he was in a Khador Jack body, Now he's in a Crix Jack body.
Well, it's a fusion between the two because he has
Right,
the Skulls
right,
of
right.
Hate strapped to it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so that puts him in a position as far as gameplay goes. He can represent Khador or Crix now, which is that's where some of that confusion came in there because he can represent both factions.
Right.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I jumped out of line there.
I was just going to ask the difference between inflictors and reapers. Do you remember? Nope, absolutely no problem. There you go. In fact, no, that's chat's homework. What's the difference between inflictors and reapers? There you go. But further on Aaron's list, he does have, right, let me get this right. Daragrath.
Right? Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
Hey, yeah.
That's his cavalry. I can't remember the name for the solo cav.
Well, he's also got 2 Warwitch Sirens, if that helps.
Right? Warwitch Sirens are solos.
Yep.
So their job is to run around and beep up a bit and
Interrupt your opponent's plan.
And then 3 Necrotechs.
Stitch your buddies back together.
right?
So healers, essentially.
Kind of, and like also like when you kill enemies, right?
Oh,
Perhaps
so it's
put
just-
them into your service.
So it's just pick a body part and use it.
Ish. Yeah.
They are the 3 Frankensteins here, are they? Of the Warmachine world, I guess, that he's got in his list there, Aaron. He's also got an Asphyxius the Sanctified. Is that right?
Right. So
Yeah.
yes. So Asphyxius.
Asphyxius 0.
Right. He's a early version of Asphyxius. We call them,
Asphyxius.
I was going to say barely out of cradle level
Yeah,
of Asphyxius.
Well, barely out of the tomb.
Yeah. Well, yes, that is
that's
fair.
kind of true.
And then he's got Annihilation Servitors and Mechanithrals as well.
Yeah, and Mechanithrals are basically your steam-powered zombies, right?
Hang on, are you telling me that Crix is like crypt mixed with steampunk?
Yeah. So
Fusion.
it's undead powered by steam, and that steam is fueled by necrotite, which is basically a necromantic infused coal.
That is nothing short of actually awesome.
Right. And so and depending on like which models they bring and stuff, that fuel that they use to burn to get those furnaces going is poisonous. So there's a lot of abilities in that faction that center on corrosion and not necessarily staying dead. So you've got you can have quite a bit of recursion.
Yeah.
Which definitely helps if you've got someone mowing through your army to just whip them back up.
Absolutely. So according to the chat, inflictors are shield guards with high armor, and dealers have harpoons. Is that right?
Reapers have harpoons, yeah.
Yeah. Next minute, Ben Bailey has crits. What?
Oh, yep. Even Tom caught himself there. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Reapers. Sorry, I did. Yeah, I asked about inflictors and Reapers, and then didn't listen to myself when when I read your answer. Yeah, no, I like steampunk stuff. I always have. It's been one of those things that I've always really been drawn to. But I also really like undead forces.
So you're
So
going
it's
to be all about
literally
crits.
perfect for me.
It was one of the first things that drew my attention to the game. So when the original battle boxes came out, me and my friends drew lots to decide which of the 4 of us was going to play which of the 4 starting factions.
Yep.
Back in the day. And I was like, give me them cricks. I want the sweet undead. And then based on where I drew, I ended up with Signar, which did really well for me, and I enjoyed it. But I have circled back to cricks numerous times.
Yeah, it's it's something rather interesting that you appeal to all of my stuff. And I think we've got a table 1. I can give you a pencil for the moment if that's all right. I think that's a table 1 result coming in there.
Yeah.
From
I think we'll have that result in just a minute.
yeah, well, we've got Christopher versus Michael. I hope they pass it to us before they pass it to the judges.
Right.
The state of the table doesn't look. I mean, Christopher's on the bottom half of this table, his army, and then Michael's on the top half. Is that commanding position for Michael? Would you consider? Bearing in mind he's basically everything
Yeah,
north of
it
the terrain.
could be. I'm not gonna guess. I'm wait and see.
Yeah, it's a little difficult to read some of the tokens at this range.
Yeah.
But
It's the problem when you're trying to fit a 4
I'm
foot by
going
4 foot
to-
square on a table.
Especially since, unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties, so the control points haven't been able to be updated in real
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But it definitely looks like there's a significant amount of control on that side.
In fact, if you give me a second, I will just go and check their tablet because that will be working fine.
Oh yeah.
It's
Okay.
just our side.
Or- yeah.
Then
Oh, are you going or am I going?
No, I'm just moving so
Thank
you
you.
can actually get out.
And in chat, Nicholas, he said Gatsby Zero is circle model and Whaley has Gatsby 4. Yes, that's right. I wasn't paying attention when they asked that, but yes, Asphyxia's 4 is a mercenary slash convergence model. So yeah, that makes way more sense than Asphyxia Zero, who is a circle model before he became a bad guy. Or
Right.
maybe he was just a bad guy and changed teams. Tom Oliver says, "Don't make sense of the tokens. Madness."
So just for full disclosure, whilst they have finished their game, the control points aren't actually that far off being wrong. From what I saw,
Zero?
no, from what I saw, Michael does have a point,
Okay.
whereas Chris only has one. The game is actually finished in Christopher's favor because I think that's a Warcaster kill coming in
that
there.
would have been an
Excellent.
assassination.
Yep, that would have been just a.
That is, I mean, you don't need to control the points if you can assassinate the player, right?
That's right.
Right, because they can't control anything if they're dead.
You lose your head, the game's over.
That's wow, that's phenomenal to see that come in. That's go behind on the control points, but as we said yesterday, there are multiple ways to win, and if you can find that path to victory whilst ignoring the control points and be able to almost lull your opponent's caster out into a favorable position.
Right. That's exactly right. And if a player's not paying attention, if they're just focusing on protecting their caster or just getting those control points, it's easy to not pay close enough attention, and your opponent's caster gets close enough, or a model from his army gets close enough and can pick you off.
And you said that went in whose favor?
Michael,
No,
I'm
Chris's
sorry,
favor.
Christopher.
Yeah,
Okay.
Michael does have one control point.
Right.
Okay.
But it obviously,
But Chris was able to take out Michael's caster.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Sorry, my dyslexia kicked in and I started swapping it in my head.
No, you're absolutely
And I'm
fine.
like, you know what? Let me go ahead and just ask so that I'm not.
So, just out of curiosity, I'm moving us on from that table because obviously we've seen the conclusion, and they're
Right,
just
let's move
doing
over.
some calculations
But
now.
Australia does get the first win.
Do they carry on playing once they finish the game to see the caster's dead to control points, or is
Nope.
it just
Nope. When the caster's dead, caster's dead.
Yeah, and that's the end of the game. They may be talking through or discussing tactics or things they could have done differently. That's
Right.
common practice with Warmachine players. They'll talk about the game after they finish it up.
And sometimes it's just to go, hey, when you pulled off this move earlier, that was amazing,
Yeah,
right?
of
Like
course, yeah.
like was that something you pre-planned? Was that something that just evolved in the scenario? You know what I mean? Like, and so that's a big part of these events
Yeah.
is getting to know your opponent not just during the game but after and before, and like really exploring how the two of you look at the game differently.
Yeah, and it's how you get better. I mean, so many times at events or even just pickup games at the game store, players after a game or after something happens, they'll talk about it, or they'll talk about what they could have done different, and they'll pick each other's brains just to get better at the game.
Yeah, I one of the things for me is that you learn nothing from from victory, but everything in defeat as well.
Definitely.
So-
I mean, as much as I enjoy winning my games, if I play against a good player and they do something really cool or something I want to emulate in my next game, it's good to be able to talk about it, how they did it, why they did it, how I can do that, or what I could have done different. And
Yeah, what situation may have come up where they would have absolutely not done that, you know?
right.
Yeah.
And the community has always been great about helping each other out like that, helping new players out like that.
Of course.
A
Giving
rising
advice.
tide raises all ships. Right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So if you beat me at a game, and I can learn a little bit more, and I can come back as a stronger opponent next time I play against you,
Yeah.
you have the opportunity to get better as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's tit for tat in that respect, and it's
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful to see that level of community. You know, there's no secrets. Once the game's finished, there's no secrets held. You know, you've had that game, you finished over.
Right.
There's no point holding back. You might as well just see where you can go forward from there.
Another thing with Warmachine, it's an open game, so you're not hiding anything. If your opponent asks you a question, you answer the question. If they ask, an example that was used earlier when the event was starting was when a player asks what your threat range is, you're not hiding something. You're not hiding a trick. When they ask you a question, in Warmachine, you answer the question. You don't try to do a sneak attack. when somebody's asked the question. You don't omit that. Well, I forgot to tell you this. I can go 2 inches further. So there's a lot of, I want to say there's a lot of honor in our game because it is open like that, where you can ask questions and you can look at the person's profile of their card or what they do, and you can ask questions about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that freedom of information almost to be able to make a decision is great, but you've got to do it on your clock in this time as well, I imagine.
Right, and with measurements being important in Warmachine, knowing that your opponent might have a speed of 6 and plus his 3-inch charge plus 2-inch reach on his weapon, but they may also have a spell that can give them an extra 2 inches or
Pathfinder,
yeah,
something like that.
some
That
kind of
lets them
effect.
ignore the terrain, so that's no longer a mitigating factor.
Right, because they want to know that if your maximum reach is going to be 12 inches, well, they don't want to move into that range. They want to stay beyond that. So when they ask you about it, you have to give them a straight answer on it.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. It's something that I quite like about the ethos of this game and the attitude that all the players have towards it as well. It's nice and welcoming.
Ben, it sounds like we need to get you a army box to get you rolling on this game.
Yeah, well, I mean, somebody did ask earlier, though. I actively play Warmachine Pulp. I do nothing but stare at the models and drool a little bit. But after this, I'm definitely excited to get my toes into it.
I know some people that
Yeah.
I think we could probably hook you up.
I am beyond excited to get into this. No, honestly, and we were saying yesterday, now's a perfect time to sort of look into or getting stuff ready or painted or sort of
Perfect
whatever
time.
ready for Mark IV coming in.
And Ben, we have we're going to do a little bit of manufacturing in the UK, so
Hello.
we'll be pretty close to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll just nip down and pick it up.
That's right, right? That's what we can do. Or,
That's
of course,
amazing.
order through your local game store is always good, too.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is a very small scene. Unfortunately, it's the card gamers have started to kick people out of my local gaming store, and it would be nice to be able to, alongside Dan Jones, herald a new wave of Warmachine.
That's what we're shooting for. Get some people playing, get some new stuff, get people with old stuff playing. They can still use the stuff they've been using for years.
Yeah.
So get people out in the stores. Get the social skills back up.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had 2 years of no social skills required,
Right.
basically.
So many people I've talked to, they're like, I forgot how to interact with people.
Yeah, definitely had that same sort of thing.
So we have. Go on.
Do you want to whack that headset on that's just behind?
Looks
There
like we
go.
have a guest coming in. Hello there.
Oh.
How'd your first game go?
Wasn't too bad.
Yeah?
It's pretty good when they forget what your feet does.
And can you introduce yourself and tell us which team you're playing for?
Hi, guys. My name's Chris. My first time here at the WTC.
Yep.
I don't think people believe me, but, you know.
And Chris, who you were playing today?
I was playing Nico.
Okay.
We were doing the Kador mirror. It ended up being Erusk 2 versus Zakova 1.
And you won on assassination, is it?
Yeah, because basically he forgot that one part is that he forgot that my feet allows me to see through clouds, so he set up this turn. It was actually interesting because there was a chance he could have gone for a weird kill beforehand by turning one of my guys into an arc node and spraying me to death, which is rude.
Yeah.
But then it's also one of those where, because of the way everything is set up, I was next to my Alexia, but you can target models around it. So I kind of like, all right, I want them to die, please. Because if it would have been one of those weird ones where either I was super dead or it was not even close, and you just wasted time.
Right. So if you didn't pull it off, you were in trouble.
If he didn't pull it off, yeah, well, I mean, same result, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. The big one is he tried to hold his feet, and I mean, even if he had, I'm not sure it would have changed so much, but I mean, I definitely could have killed him that turn.
So good win for you, Chris. The first one in this particular room.
Yep.
So
Tomo, sorry, that's one of my mates back home. Why is Warmachine and Hordes better than Netrunner? Because it's got toy soldiers. You really want me to talk about Netrunner?
Can't go wrong with the toy soldiers, right?
Yeah.
So you were mentioning this is your first WTC going on here.
Yeah.
How have you found the experience so far? Obviously, we're only in game 1. There's loads more to go. But you were here last night with the festivities and the sort of community aspect going on. How have you found it coming over?
Well, I mean, this definitely isn't my first WTC. It's my first WTC of the 20s.
How many had you played in previously?
Uh,
A bunch.
I'm
All of
doing it.
them?
I'm counting in fingers. I think about 5.
Okay.
This.
So you know what you're doing. You know how this all works.
Yeah. No, it's that was the thing, right? It's just like it felt like the past 4 years because I haven't been back since 2018 and not most of us basically were. So we it was like however all that time just disappeared.
Yeah.
And we came back and we were just like, oh, it's the same people, great people, some new faces as well. Like Nick, I haven't met, and is my new opponent. Great
Right.
dude.
But your team itself, this Australian team is all veteran players, right?
Yeah, well, we were all planning to go in 2020. We were fucking G'd up for it, and then something happened, and then we couldn't, which
Yep.
seemed a bit silly. But here we are.
I've been
Yeah.
there before. I understand that. So, but
No, we like it was one of those things where in that weird way with COVID, like no joke aside, like it was actually just one of the things in the back of the head that one day we'll probably do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do the WTC, and here we are.
yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy to see you guys come back. As a team, did you get a chance to play together very often, or was it more
We
of a
made-
remote thing?
We made time, but yeah, some of it had to be remote. I
Right.
mean, we all have jobs and the like, and people moving around. A lot of us now have significant others that we found or had relationships formed during COVID, right? We changed jobs during COVID, so everything was a complete mess.
So you're saying it's almost like you guys are all growing up,
Yeah.
becoming adults
Aw.
Please,
with your toy soldiers.
man, children, don't give us too much credit.
No, I'll try not to.
Do you want me to? But by the way, do you want me to actually make a comment on some of these games? I can try and decipher what's going on here.
Oh, we're stumbling through it, but
Okay, well, fair.
you're more than welcome to have any
Well,
input
anyway,
on that.
sorry in advance for anyone watching my game, as usual.
Well, being able to drop between all 5 tables, it means we are seeing snippets and highlights of other tables. Now we only have to watch 4, so thank you for that speedy speedy conclusion there. It means that we can focus on the other 4. But before we do start commentating, I had a question for you, Chris.
Yeah, what's up?
In your personal opinion, is
Yeah.
there any team that you're excited to play against or don't want to play against as much as the rest of them here? Or is it a case of bring them all on, I can handle them all?
Look, they're all okay. Every WTC, there's always some random country that always just like fucking performs way ahead and gets through. Last WTC, from what I remember, it was the Norwegians, right? They just came out of nowhere like a freaking bus on a speeding bus on a highway. Collected both Polish teams, collected the English at some point along the way. They just ran everyone over and got there, right? Like, in the team year we won in 2018, it was the Czech. We actually, there was a confusion of who won the final game because it was literally 2-2 and it came down to the final game and it got misreported because I think it was like one of those weird countback situations.
Oh wow!
So we're doing our team prep of like, all right, what the fuck are these like Czech guys lists? And then we're like, as the Poles, like, oh crap. Wait, we have to play the Polish now. Are we playing the Czechs now? I can't. Yeah. Every time it's like that. So I'm like, look, there's going to be a bunch of teams, which are going to be the strong forerunners, right? I mean, if I'm going to say there's a couple of two of the USA teams I'd say really have a good chance of going at it. The Canadians are strong. I guess you got us. It'll be interesting see how the Brits go, see if the losing the Ashes lit a fire into their bellies.
That's what.
But then I
that's
think
what
that
we
the actual danger is probably going to be something like, I don't know, Denmark 2. And they're going to fucking come out of nowhere. And we're going to be like, and the finals, it's going to be Australia, America, Canada, and Denmark.
Just a random team just to fill out the gaps there.
Yeah.
We were talking to James yesterday, your teammate actually, about what his experience with Warmachine was over COVID, and he was saying, that certain countries went back to playing in person a lot more, so that global meta that was developed online actually started to break away in these little pockets, and he was saying one of those teams might break through with something a bit off cuff and off the cards to what the rest of you have all seen.
Oh, yeah, agreed, 100%. Because you looking at it with how lists, like, this isn't back in the day where it's just like, all right, it's Gatsby 2. What flavor of Gatsby 2 is.
Right.
This isn't like Haley and like what particular flavor. Are there pirates? Are there random signal models, meaning it's bad? Is there like how many storm walls are we running? No, it's like you actually could see a couple. So it might be that France is right in front of me right now, but if you look at some of the French teams, they've gotten some random, like, for whatever reason, they're running a lot of Morph 2 and they're running a lot of Scar 1 Stalker spam, right? Whaley is running Stalker spam. Admittedly, I'm pretty sure at this point he's playing Kharkiv too. If you look, however, at Like the French, it's like most of the teams just have someone playing Stalker spam. Can't tell you why, but it's probably something that they
Right.
played a bunch of the tournaments, right?
Well,
Like that's where you've got meta fragmentation happening. Because a lot of people are sharing stuff, and then a lot of teams also are trying to keep things. I wouldn't even say keep it under wraps. It's more like they're just testing a lot of things. The update last year has had a chance to settle. I'd say it's probably settled in quite a lot. So this is like the maturation of those lists that came out of it. So for instance, like you're looking, like the pairing I have is a direct result of basically of the changes made during the dynamic update, right? There's a lot of things. Frankly, my opponent's pair was also the result of that. Like every time I asked a question about Zakova 1, I remember what she used to do, and he told me what she now does. I'll be like, this keeps getting better. It was like one of those weird ones. It's like, no, you can't park here. Yeah, you can.
Right.
Right, but you can only park it out. No, you can park for the whole day. Right, but isn't it like on weekends? No, it's everything anytime. It's fine. It's all-
No, you're absolutely fine. It's I think it's my USB socket in the back of it might be a little bit
just bumped it
dodgy.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
fair.
absolutely fine.
And Ben, I know some of what Chris is saying. You're just like, I don't know what he's talking about. So one of the things he's talking about with the changes, we did a major update to a lot of our profiles last year.
Yep.
A dynamic update, and so what he's saying is that a year later there were so many updates that it's settling in now, and people are learning what's going to work really good, and so it looks like many
think
people have adjusted that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if there wasn't Mark IV around the corner, I would say that would be the prime time to drop another update, right? Because, frankly, that update kept a lot of us in the game or really reinvigorated things.
Yeah.
Like, we had in Australia, we had a convention called CanCon, and that was the first one probably out of the block. It was about a week before LVO, so similar-ish time.
Right.
And that was great. Like, we got so many people coming back because you've got them like, oh, your toy's back. Also, it's better, sexier, cooler, like, runs faster, jumps higher, has more focus than ever.
All things that gamers like.
All things you like. But it was also, a lot of it was good quality of life stuff. Like, this wasn't just like, okay, now Zakova, like, no, your caster just gets infinite focus. It's more like, now all of these wonky things kind of worked.
Yeah.
It did create a bit of haves and have-nots.
Sure.
Because the whole thing is just like, with an update like that, unless you hit literally everything in the game, it's impossible. Like, something's going to feel like it gets missed, right? But that's why I felt like it did such a good job to start it off and go on others. But given Mark IV's around the corner, it'd be interesting to see if, I mean, that will probably pick up the slack instead.
Yeah,
It'd be good.
I think there's a lot of work going into Mark IV right now, so
The great thing about updates and things like that with game systems is that, no matter how much you do, you'll find that in 6 months' time, potentially either a new release or a tiny tweak to one other unit will actually make the original update amazing. That a lot of people, like, maybe looked at originally and discarded. So it'll be a case of they look at it and go, cool, that's a nice update, but this is way better. And then another unit that you can pull in later goes, this actually works way better with the original update.
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes
so-
just a little update makes
lot
an army
happen.
click
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. I think I know the model even to illustrate that would be is the Riot Quest guide, General Thunderstone, I think it was. When he came out, that model was trash. Why does this model exist? This
Yeah.
model's stupid. And then obviously it's like this is a model that has been designed for releases down the road. And then a couple of those came out, a couple of the Trollkin shooting models got tweaked, and then it's like, this guy's a staple. He's really cool.
Right.
I remember one of our locals was going like, this guy's so terrible. I'm looking at like, I mean, he's not great because he's buffing bushwhackers, but it's very much like, you don't, like, one, his good rolls are good, and two, you don't make a model like this and not see that, like, at some point it could be abusable.
Right.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that there are a lot of moving pieces to this sort of thing all over the time, and being able to eventually line those stars all together is quite nice, and almost pull out something out the box that you haven't played with in a while, and find out that it is actually competitively viable now for whatever reason.
Yep.
So your two factions that you brought today, Chris,
To
your list. What are your casters in those lists?
I'm playing a Rusk 2 in Winterguard Command. I'm playing Zakova 2 in Wolves of Winter.
And is that a decision that you and the team came to, or is that a case of I'm taking these, get out of my house?
No, actually, I can even go into a bit of background. So I'm playing with Whaley, and
Sure.
we have one card shift between two people, and Like, I played Karchev in that, like, CanCon earlier at the start of the year, and I ended up winning with it, so I, at that point, had taken Erusk 2 and Karchev 2, because I figured it was 2 degenerate lists with 2 wildly skewy, like, things, which are also 2 extremely flexible.
Go again, sorry.
The
Carry on.
internet doesn't want to hear about Karchev 2 and how good he is.
Karchev 2 broke the internet.
Yeah,
Again.
again, every time. But that's the kicker, right? Is that Karchev 2, there's only one Karchev between 2 people, so it was a case of who gets it,
Right.
right? So that was one of the reasons I'm not playing Karchev 2, is because I feel that Krix probably will need Krix having Karchev 2 makes a way bigger difference than Kadal. Like Kadal is probably one of the top 3 factions out of that update, and as a result of that, like, I didn't know what list it was going to be at the time, but I figured I can probably find something that's going to be about as disgusting. Like, I don't need Karchev, whereas if it's like, Krix is like, what are we going to do? Have Whaley play Gatsby 3 again? I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that to him. Also, from a other perspective, like, we was actually talking about this of just, like, with a lot of teams, I'm not sure how much it's just like, I'm playing this, right? There's, like, for us, it was, like, a bit of, I'm playing this, with a bit of back and forth, right? First of all, obviously, that was the only thing where it is, like, are you stepping on someone's toes to do so? But the second is just, like, well, like, if I walked in and said, I'm playing Malakov out of theme with Karchev 1 in Winterguard Command, they'd probably start looking at me and be like, what the fuck? Like, can you please justify this?
Right. So there is at some
Yeah.
point the team is going to step in and say, "What are you doing?"
But not in that case. It's just like, all right, prove it to us. Like, show why it works and how and what your thoughts are here, right?
And you seem like you were confident, even without using Karchev 2, you were going to be fine with the casters that you took, the lists that you took.
Look, Erusk 2, like, there's a reason. Literally the reason it's got a nickname Stalingrad right now. So what do you want from me? Also, to be blunt, that list is like something I have a lot of reps with before, and it's just gotten better. Like, it's a mess, as I said. Sorry in advance to anyone watching that game, because there's a lot of little intricacies going on, which is much better than just running everything forward. It's great.
Right. How many games do you get in practice in front of an event like this?
Never as much as I'd like.
Yeah. Okay.
Never. How many?
Do we have
Something about
updates coming in?
30 minutes extra on the round timer.
Yeah, I think some of the rounds might have started later, or the one in this particular room did start a little later because we were getting you guys into position on stream.
Yeah, fair.
And there's that accommodation there, which is really nice. I mean, as I said earlier, lunch is like an hour and a half on the clock, I think. There's all that time isn't required to eat your lunch.
Yeah.
Maybe to decompress, have a shower or a bath, and then eat your lunch.
Could be.
Man, I'm really trying to work out. Right.
What table are we looking at? That one.
I'm trying. Yeah, I actually was like thinking that was James, but that's not James.
So this is table 2. As we look at it, you were on table 1,
Yeah.
and table 5's up that end.
All right.
So table 2, we've got James running Chromac under
Kristen, if
circle.
you see something you want to narrate on that one and want
Please
to
have
get some details,
yeah.
please throw them out there.
I mean, actually, when you guys ask me questions, I'll fill in the best as I can.
What's James doing right now? It's not James.
That's not James. That's
Right.
Lello.
That's not James. James is probably busy trying. Let's have a look. See. It's a bit hard to get their focus, like, to get a look at what is going on, so fair enough.
This is the problem with trying to fit a 4x4 table on a 1080 pixel high stream, unfortunately. There was a couple of suggestions, maybe, to move the... if you want, Chris, you do have quite a bit of movement.
Yeah.
So you can actually carry on and keep talking.
That's what I'm trying to work
go
out.
have a chat.
All right, I really just only wanted to see whether he was trying to kill, like, Chromac, and it looked like, I think he's just walking forward and shooting stuff. Honestly, like, basically, like, this is one of those points where we had a very wide deviations between different metas was, like, the purpose of Circle, right? And in Australia, as we put it, it's just like, look, Warp Wolves are scary, Warp Wolves are busted, Warp Wolves are OP, and Chromac runs them the best, play Chromac.
That seems logical.
Then we're like, okay, well, Warp Wolves hate getting fucking shot in the face.
Right.
They are, unlike Legion Beasts of old, they don't have random rules that say, don't shoot me, you can't knock me down, you can't have fun things happen. Like, you know, they die, so play Wormwood. And this was actually, I'll be, like, James settled on his list quite quickly, then tried to, like, it was almost like a guy who jumped into a giant hole and then was trying to get out,
Yeah.
and it was like, no, actually, the hole's great.
Yeah.
You're stuck with what you picked, James.
Yeah, but it's like, it's not like he jumped into a hole, it's more like he jumped into a mansion. It was just like, well, I could leave the mansion, I could, like, try and dig my way into something better, but no.
Yeah. So he was trying to swap something out last minute, or
No, not really. That's like, we tried it. We're just like, it was actually one of those ones where legitimately James was just like, it can't have been this easy. Like, I can't have, when you've just like, you hit it, get it right the first time, you think,
oh,
no.
I figured out what it is. It's your spiking every now and then, which is
Oh, me,
throwing it
okay.
all out. It's all right. I'll just turn you down.
Okay, yes. If you haven't done that already, that's on you.
I have turned you. What I should have known is that being Australian, you would have definitely been a bit more active.
My freaking nickname is, yes, Loud Chris. I'm a bit of an active player at times. As I said, sorry in advance.
Right.
Not sorry at all.
It's all right. I've got you. Don't worry.
Chris is like an energy drink all by himself. You can the energy coming in when you come over. I'm just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
storm has arrived,
Yeah.
and you haven't disappointed, Chris.
Oh,
This is the first time I've met you, Doug, so yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, I'm just like, that doesn't look like Doug Hamilton. But then again, I think like 4 years in, like, I don't know what I expected Mr. Doug Hamilton to look like, but
I don't even know how to take that one.
you look great, Doug.
But thank you, Ben.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
look
telling
good.
what you were telling me earlier. You were buttering me up.
That's why I
something
buttered
good.
you up earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
That's fair. I'll let you off.
Well, Chris, I usually keep me hidden away, so I
Yeah,
don't-
actually, that's all I know what I expected Mr. Hamilton to look like was just a pair of hands floating in the void. That held nice-looking models.
right, sculpting something and not talking, just
No.
just
You
making
talk,
pretty
no,
things.
but you
Yeah,
talk in like Times New Roman or something like that.
Right,
Just
right. It's great.
Something super basic.
Yeah. Regarding this, right? This is probably James. I think James is basically trying to take apart everything that can kill a Warpath, and
Yep.
like one of the great things with Chromac is he's super mobile. Like Warpath is one of the best spells in the game when you have some of the best heavies in the game.
Yep.
You can abuse every which way terrain possible. It really makes it easy to dodge a bunch of stuff like, are you about to charge? Okay, cool. We're just going to hide behind. We're going to use Warpath to trigger and get through. And even if we don't, like, he's activating Chromac now, and it looks like he might also be doing the other Chromac special, which is, get ready for it. It's a two-step process. I walk forward Chromac, and then I cast Bestial. And that's it.
And that's it.
Next turn, well, I mean, he says that, and then congratulations, you can't do anything.
Okay, so Bestial, talk to me through that quickly, because a bit of background, Chris. I know very little about the game. I am just here to make these two look good, Doug and John.
Yeah, fair enough.
Pretty much. So yeah, Bestial. Obviously, go on, run me through that really quickly.
Bestial's a spell, I believe it's 4 focus, and, 4 fury to cast, and it's Chromac's signature spell.
3.
3 fury.
I actually had to look it up.
3, interesting. There you go, 3 focus, 3 fury to cast. What it does is basically, while you're in Chromac's control range, which is ostensibly 14 inches, you cannot cast or channel spells. And that is basically in 3 focus, a counter to a shit ton of lists by itself. Right? There is a whole lot of lists in the meta that like rely on spells. Hell, I'm running one of them, which is Zakova 2. And
Yep.
again, literally, if I played a Chromac, I'm probably just going to go to the bar and go do the drinks order. If I want to, I'll do it on my clock. If not, I'll just tell people, yeah, okay, we're done.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like stuff like that, right? It's like Chromac is realistically quite a flexible caster who just does random stuff, and then in addition, that is his big effect. Like his feat is actually quite weak because he's got Vestial and he's got Warpath, Wild Aggression and stuff. He's got all the juice that animi, like that beasts crave.
Yep.
Naka's Nick Ackroyd, my mate. Non-animi spells. Okay, so you can still use animi.
But
Yay.
that still sounds incredibly controlling for the majority of matchups that you can
Well,
go
I mean,
into.
that's like most Warmachine factions don't have animi.
Right.
Yeah. So that's one of the big ones. One of Chromac's old weaknesses was damage, and that's been fixed by accident in so many ways with Circle these days.
Right. Okay. So
Circle basically, the way Primal, like most of the Circle beasts now are effectively at least +1 power, and then Primal for an extra +1. Primal used to cause you to Frenzy at the end of activation. It no longer does. So
Right.
you basically just usually can swing armor at least +2. And then you had Kruger Zero, who has Lightning Blade, or as like James calls it, because he's got a typo in it, Lightning Blade. He gets great lighting in there, and that basically causes you to gain reach, 2-inch melee range,
Yep.
and get +2 strength on top. And it usually stacks, and it's non-caster specific. So you can have a the routine thing is like Warp of Stalkers are rolling in at power 23 pretty routinely.
Yep.
Because it's like 18 base, they warp strength to get to 20, and then it's 21 with with primal and 23 with lightning blade. And that's Chromac, who's a caster who has 0 strength buffs, and he's just rolling in power 23 heavies.
That's
just
really good.
That's pretty fucking scary. That's scary.
Chris, we got a report that came in that Table 5 is finished up, and
Okay.
one of your teammates pulled off a win.
Oh, I thought you were going to say drop the game there for a second.
I was trying to work out who it was. It's just like Batesy propped a win. Like, okay, cool. He's out for a smoke. Fair enough. Yeah, pull it up. We can talk about him. Stupid shit.
Yeah, so that puts Team Australia up 2 wins to none right now.
Yeah, this is the end state of the table, if you like.
I'm pretty sure this is Heretic. Yeah, I recognize this Dreadrots.
Yeah, so Pete was running the Heretic, and Gamin was running his Trollboards, led by Cole Greamer. Gorgeous models, I have to say.
Yes. This camera definitely doesn't do them justice. I don't think you... Doug, question. How do you photograph minis?
Well, I don't take pictures of them. I just make them look pretty for the
Doug,
picture.
you're a pair of hands floating in the void.
I could
By
tell
themselves.
You're putting magic hands. How do you use your magic hands to do a camera shot?
I could tell you how to photograph miniatures. I just can't tell you how to video them properly when
Well,
you're trying
see,
to fit
photographing
so
is a
much
good
in.
question. Because when I take a picture, I just render it off of the computer and add some fancy effects to it, so it looks way better than it actually is.
Which is absolutely fair. In terms of photographic miniatures, you want a nice, consistent light source, a relatively plain background. The darker, the better. So if you can get some like black card or something like that, you can really make the miniature stand out. And then you can pretty much do it with modern day phone cameras, and they can look damn good.
Nice.
So it's more all about the lighting on your miniatures.
Excellent. All right. So not on the bed randomly in the middle.
Preferably stood up would also help.
Yeah, okay, great. Not held in the hand right up
Right.
against the light, just taking a shot like, oh, I did all right.
Yeah.
Nah, fair bit.
I think that's literally how I photographed mine, is in my hand,
Yep.
holding it under a light. I'm like, it looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense.
Maybe I have to do a little seminar on how to take photographs for you guys.
Yeah, well.
Just for you guys. So that was the end of the state of table 5. So that's 2-0 going up. We'll have a quick run through tables 2 to 4 on what we've got left. James obviously getting rid of an awful lot of Lilith's army there on the right-hand side in quite short work.
Told you, warp wolves are good.
Yeah, removing models left, right, and center there. James is originally starting at the back of the board and then moving in. I assume he's got quite a fast army.
It's not just fast; it also hit and runs like a champion. Really, it's very good at shaving, as we'd call it. Sick!
Literally, in
Literally,
the
I hold
hand.
it in my hand to take the
Oh,
picture of
yeah,
it.
yeah, sorry. Doug's got a photo here of I think this
It's just
is
an
an
Ulcor.
Orgoth Axeman.
Yeah, it is.
He's like angry Axeman.
But
Looks like a knockoff Thorn Ravager.
It totally does.
But just literally
But
in
it's
the
in my
palm of
hand,
your
that's-
hand.
Actually, it's an Urukai Ravager. I think I figured it out. I'm pretty
I like
sure.
the
I haven't seen the new Lord of the Rings thing
No.
show, but I'm pretty sure that's in there. Like I'm pretty sure Orgoth are in that show.
That sounds right.
That sounds right.
We had to get the influence from somewhere. I mean,
right.
they had to get the influence from somewhere.
All right. Well, I think we'll come back here because I kind of want
Yeah,
to work
that's
out what
fine.
it is.
Oh,
So,
table 3, we've got Jack versus Mike here.
Alright.
Falcir versus Kruger. Jack running the Retribution by the looks of things.
yeah, Jack's on Ret. He's on Falcir, and I'm almost tempted to say this looks like one game where nothing has happened, but I reckon that basically, that's kind of the nature of both of them.
Yeah.
You don't want to. When I was talking about the power strength, blah blah blah, circle stuff, right? You don't want to just run your stuff in and get trivially killed. Yeah, it looks like a stalker just went down to a Falcir Manticore.
Oh, yeah. So that's one of her jacks.
Yeah.
It looks very sparse on this table compared to other tables. The model count looks relatively low, but I assume that's just because Mike's removed half of his infantry nice and quickly.
I'm pretty sure there's a trident that should be there. There should be a lot more wrist left. Like that was, I think, looks like 5, 6. Oh wow, that's quite a lot. But it doesn't look like so much on the last one. Anyway, basically, wrists of us have been chewed out. Trident's been chewed out. It looks like a bunch of the circle stuff's gone down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would make sense. I've decided that anytime anybody plays on stream, they have to paint the rims of them in just bright pink,
Right,
so that we can see
it better.
them.
I mean, those white rims are pretty good.
The white rims are fine, but it's when you got the dark rims and then obviously the basing to go with the matte, which is lovely and great, but real difficult for us to see on a cheeky top down. All right, we'll move over to table 4 then. Where we've got Aaron potentially finishing up at some point against
Right,
Quintus.
There is a lot going on in the middle of that table.
I can tell you. Well, this is kind of a lot and then kind of not. So when I say that, I mean, Whaley's like building forts, just building forts, and no, inevitably it's either Fort Kharchev. You can see Kharchev at the back there, and literally everyone. Like for those who don't know, Whaley is a gridiron player. And he's using some of those tactics, as you can see. Look, you can see the quarterback at the back, that's Kharchev. You can see all the boys. I'm not sure what your playmaker is, the equivalent of a halfback in rugby league, but that would be Gaspy.
It definitely looks like he's got a line in front there.
Yeah. And isn't it like, obviously it looks a bit herped what's going on, but there's a lot of weird intricacies going on. Like, for instance, if I'm not mistaken, right under that cloud in the center of the map is a Talon. And that's a really important jack, because that's in Whaley's list, that's Gaspy's Warjack.
Yep.
Gaspy's, a Talon basically is a Merc Light. It has 6 points. It's basically what happens if you went to, I don't know, Walmart and bought a jack. And then stuck a taser to the end of its stick, right? It's very bare bones. But what it is it provides a Dark Shroud bot, and it also has stall, which in a lot of these matchups, like these Kharchev mirrors, that fucker will go around and start poking everyone and tell them to just like, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
Right, and Dark Shroud, I mean, what, -2 is...
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
It's a very big deal, especially for this list where you don't have... A lot of the Gaspies are now going on Desecrators, which is that Kriegsjack with a buzzsaw. And that makes literally infinite attacks sometimes. It's got crit shred, and every time it keeps critting, which is about a 25%er, which of course means that sometimes you just get 10 in a row, and then that's your thing just disappears.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, even if you think about it, like you can multiply focus, and it just explodes in. It's not even how much damage it does; it's the threat of said damage.
Yeah.
Well, Gaspy, Whaley doesn't have that because he's gone with a more reach build with Reapers and Inflictors. So you need something like a Talon there to provide the Dark Shroud, because you can't accidentally do infinite damage to someone.
Right.
A bit unfortunate, right? But yeah.
That's in the next dynamic update.
Ah, okay. Well, Inflictors also deal infinite damage?
Yeah, that happens in 12 hours. So tomorrow it's in play, right? That's how that works.
I didn't say that. You're going to get us in trouble, Ben.
I'm not a representative of anybody. There you go. Done. Right. You have got all blame omitted.
Well, John's not sitting here right now, so I'm going to push it his direction. And
His fault. Blame John. Where is John? He's just disappeared.
I think he's wandering off looking at games.
Oh, well, he's allowed to do that. And I imagine he'll be able to tag team yourself back in, and you can then go and have a look. And
yeah, absolutely. We should be getting close on time, right? Is our clock?
Our clocks
is on?
our clocks are we had a little bit of a technical issue where I had to refresh stuff. So the players' clocks are actually accurate, but our clocks are not accurate.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, I mean, I've been talking for a while. I usually do that. And at least looking at this time stamp, 35 minutes, I'm pretty sure my clock ended with, we're looking at Whaley and Quintus over here. I'm pretty sure we had about that amount of time.
Yeah, you did.
35 minutes ago.
Yeah, we had some technical issues early on, and it reset everything.
That's fine.
For us, but not the players. I have, over lunchtime, I'm going to be implementing a fix for that. So that if it does go down, we'll just get an update straight from the players to here.
Yeah.
So it will all be accurate again when we reload it. But
Absolutely.
I'm pretty confident there's about a 25-minute to 30-minute discrepancy on times.
Right.
So we could assume that Aaron is looking at around about 8 minutes left on his clock, whereas Quintus probably is rocking between 2 and 7, and Aaron's either 8 to 15. Which
It's
is
a wide
fair.
range.
It is a wide range. In actual fact, I can always nip up and have a check and see where we're looking at with times.
Yeah.
if you
Actually,
like.
it'll be easier for me to. I'll jump over there real quick.
No worries, dude. Thank you very much, Doug. He's going to have a quick round over the 3 tables to see roughly what times we're getting on. So, game 1, a pretty concise and solid victory. You obviously played into your opponent's forgetfulness, I guess, saying with the feet and being able to shoot through that cloud.
That didn't hurt, but it was like basically I was dropping card. I was expecting him to drop Karchev.
10-2. Oh, 9 minutes. Two for Quintus, and about 9 minutes there for Aaron.
Ooh, all right, that's Jack.
Which I was close with, to be fair. I did say it's
Yeah.
about half an hour left.
Yeah.
So that's table 4. Nipping down onto table 3.
So yeah, just I guess going back
Sorry,
to it.
yeah, just go on.
No, that's fair. Basically, yeah, like the thing is, him actually playing Zakova is not the worst of situations for him because the Karchev game is playable because it's Karchev 2, but it's also kind of just awkward for Karchev 2 because
Yep.
it doesn't really have Karchev 2 doesn't really want to see Power 15 weapon masters that he doesn't have the best of tools to deal with, right? You
Yeah.
know, like on his list of things he'd want to, right? That's not on there, right?
That's
So
fair.
actually playing Zakova, I mean, he has actual assassination threats on me. He has the ability to. He has a feat that still works against me. Like I do ignore his clouds, but I only ignore them for 1 turn.
Right.
Yeah, and
And if he's not set up properly, to be able to tank that turn or at least prevent you from using it as much as possible.
yeah, exactly. But Reavers, like one of the things I did, Royal.
Sorry, we just had a report that Australia win table 3 as well because France actually timed out.
Oh, clock for circle. Interesting.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Clock for circle, and then
Okay.
that means a 3-0 so far with only 2 games left. That means you take the
yeah.
round.
Oh yeah, nice.
Congratulations.
Never in doubt. Never in doubt.
So,
Oh yeah.
with a strong opening, I mean, obviously there's still 2 games going on, but not being able to record a single win there out of the 3 games so far for France. How is that confidence for you? Is that a massive boost going forwards, or is it like you're just
I'm
still
gonna be blunt.
stalwart?
I was just happy to get my own game and finish it. Like
Yeah.
the rest of it, like it's not just it's out of my hands, but it's also like I got some trust with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a team of 5, right? You've got to be
Yeah.
able to trust each other to be able to carry yourselves across and through.
Dave, I'm pretty sure that was Australia winning, or wait, hang on. Check number 4, please. I think that's.
Table 4's done.
Yeah.
France timed out on 4.
Oh, okay. I
as
thought
well.
they timed out on 3, or they timed
No,
out
both.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's why the clocks are about.
Yeah.
I need to get that update in over lunch, which is absolutely fine.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's 2 timeouts there, and then it's just table 2, so we can sit and focus on James's game, and it's a 4-0 overall team victory so far for you guys. Can you make it a 5-0? Does it? Excuse my my noobishness.
Yeah.
Does it matter if you go 5-0, or are you just looking for the W on a 3-8?
Frankly, the last time I was here, we were at 3-2 in basically every round apart from like round 4, right? Like, no, we'll take a win, and 5-0 it doesn't matter, right?
That's fair. Oh, sorry.
Especially in a team event, like you're going to be a situation where you're going to have some players who are playing worse games to make sure that other players are either playing better ones,
Yeah.
or that they're not playing ones where they just completely get.
Just completely get absolutely smashed.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for what it's worth, and I don't know, spoiling this a bit, is like our philosophy is basically like, look, as long as you give someone not an unwinnable game,
Yep.
that's fine.
Yep.
And by that I mean you can't, like, we can't, like, you know, no matter how good Whaley or James or Batesy is, if we get him a matchup which is like Chromac 1 versus Zakova 2, right? That you could be the best player in the world and it will literally not matter.
Yep.
But on the other hand, if we get in the reverse, it's like it doesn't matter. Like you can't really leverage player skill there, and also your opponent is not going to just give you that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of it comes down to, look, we'll give you a bunch of games and just see how it plays out. It's the best we can do, as long as we don't give someone basically super unlosable games.
I was gonna say, did I see you and Whaley also conferring over the matchup process and what you'll
yeah.
prefer? Have you got a we call it in Warhammer a traffic light card? where basically in a team tournament you look at the other teams and you red, yellow, green
Yeah.
your opponents.
Same.
You guys have the same sort of thing.
More colors actually, but yeah.
Oh, okay, fair
Yeah.
play.
There's I won't like. I
Don't
can
go
into
into too much.
I can go into it a bit more later on, probably over beers and maybe after things are settled down. But yeah, it's like that is the process there. It was like end of the day, we can like, you know, you don't want to run all the red lights, right? And
Yep.
also greens though are not actually like it's good to know which games you're good into and anywhere you have like you're confident in that matchup and the like. But the simple fact is, if you just get like a bunch of even games, the rest hopefully should sort itself out.
How much of I don't know if you can answer this question, but how much of that prep that you've done is a case of going, we're going to take the player's skill into this, like your
None.
opponent's players,
Absolutely none.
just raw matchups?
Yeah, because that's the thing is like I've seen it done the other way around, and it's becomes too arbitrary because I'm gonna diverge a bit here. So there's a guy
All
that
the way.
I've met today yesterday. His name's Brandon Owen. First time I've met him. I've heard of this guy though since literally 2012 when some American guy told me legitimately without a doubt he was the best player who'd ever played Warmachine in any capacity. It was impossible
Right.
functionally, practically, strategically for Kador to ever beat his faction, which at the time was Signar. And it was just like, I can't beat God, right? I'm pretty good, but I can't beat Warmachine Jesus. I especially can't
Of
beat a
course.
person who doesn't actually exist because he's like the ideal construct in someone's mind,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's a similar thing that can come out if you do it with player skill involved, because the simple fact is, one, you don't actually know the player skill of almost everyone unless it's an event where you have like the team versus team dynamic. Like,
Of course.
if we were to match ourselves, we would know that to some degree, and we could maybe next level it. But that's because, and when I say ourselves, I mean
Another team.
the other
effort.
Australian
Yeah.
team, right? Because we've played to each other, we know it, right? But even then, you probably still be like, okay, well, if you get someone into a decent-ish matchup, it shouldn't matter, right?
Yeah, of course.
Because it's not like, you know, when you get down to it with these kind of games, it's not like you're the only one who does the work.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's one of the reasons why a lot of times they're going to look at it and they are going to say, like, fuck, I don't want to play this guy, he's too good. And then that means that they take what is actually a bad matchup, but they're like, oh, but I'm playing into a weaker opponent because they don't know him.
Yeah.
And you're like, cool, that person you picked might actually be the strongest player in our team, and you've just given him a green matchup for literally no reason,
Yeah, of course.
apart from gut feeling. You'd have to, like, you can do it, but you have to know your stats really well. You have to know your players, and frankly, not enough people will be able to do that.
Yeah, of course. So, is there anybody in your team that you would bus, or would you try and always get something?
Try and never
favourable?
bus.
Yeah. Okay.
It
fair
actually, bussing is overrated. It never works. There's only a few instances to bus someone, and that would be if they... In summary, like, the best way to bust someone is to bust someone who has a list that can assassinate people,
Yep.
or has a list that they're very confident they can pull some shit out, right?
play. Yeah, of course.
But the simple fact is, you don't often need to actually bust someone. Like, usually, if you're busting someone, it's to get other people good matchups, but I've already told you, like, from my perspective, you kind of just want people having playable matchups.
Yeah.
Because, like, legitimately, if you think about it, you're gambling one confirmed loss to try and get some people hypothetical wins.
yes.
Those aren't real wins. And remember, you might be busting someone into matchups that aren't actually great. Because
Yeah.
the best part I always have about these WTCs, again, first time here, but hypothetically, is that you go after the event when, like, you know, there's no need for operational security, and you look at everyone else's grids, and it's always hilarious because you get people greening each other, like, it's there, green light, give me the matchup, I'm super good into this, like, or the even funnier one where the red light, I can't play this game, into both of them made red light into each other.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I was just about to say, busing is a very weird one, right? Because if you don't put anybody and throw them under the bus, you only have to win 3 out of 5 games. If you bus somebody, you have to win 3 out of 4,
Yes.
which is statistically worse odds than winning 3 out of 5.
Correct, exactly. And there it's also just like, it's actually unnecessary. Oh, Norbert, why aren't you here, mate? Come on.
Sorry, that was just a handshake there on table 2. Was it a clean sweep for James there? Sorry, for Australia when James taking in that win, or has Lilith managed to give France a reason to keep fighting on with getting and clawing back a cheeky win there.
No clocking.
There's no.
All right, that's a
clocking out.
thumbs up. James did it.
Ah, really brilliant. So that is a 5-0 there
There we go.
for Team Australia going in round 1. Let's see how many more 5-0s over the weekend that you can achieve.
So
going forwards.
again, if we just 3-2 the rest of the matchups, it'll be more butt clenching, but fuck it, whatever. It's a win.
I mean, it's definitely a way to do it, isn't it?
I can tell you, it's just like one of the worst things that happened was 2018 when I managed to again be the first one out the cab off the rank to finish, and then like I finished my game in 20 minutes. I killed him top of 1 because literally he walked Krios forward and I just took a 50-50 with a field gun for literally no consequence. I rolled and killed him, and then I had to spend an hour and 40 minutes just agonizing watching everyone play games.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, in this matchup, you've been able to come and sit with and talk with us for a bit.
Maybe I'll do that next time if you see me there.
Just on
Yeah.
over. Brilliant.
Because I was expecting to be there for the long haul, and they're like, I'm not mentally prepared for what to do now.
Yeah, of course.
I might just head and finish packing up my shit.
I was gonna
There's some
say,
stuff there on my table.
Thank you so much for joining us, Chris, and congratulations as well. Go and celebrate with your team and get ready for lunch and stuff.
Cheers,
Yeah,
Chris.
will
Thank
do.
you.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you.
Take your headset off
weekend.
before you leave.
Yeah. What? Can't steal this? Yeah.
I just had visions
Start
of him.
walking away and then just eat it.
Literally had visions of him walking away and then like literally Cartoon Network style fall
Yep,
back on
yep,
his ass.
I have done it more often than I would like to admit, and I'm technically a professional. Question mark.
So John, you had a walk around.
I did.
last
Yeah,
week. In
I
fact,
was going around. I was checking, like various tables, seeing what was going on, just getting kind of a vibe check.
in
right?
fact, let me.
Are we scooching?
We are scooching. I'm gonna scooch up.
You're gonna scooch.
Well, there's only 2 of us now because
I'm
Doug's
gonna
decided to
scooch.
have a